Okay, welcome to Vicoding University, training humans to train themselves. Okay, today what we're going to try to do is put a little bit some things together so that you can start to see how it's going to work. Okay, so here we are. We are this automatic doing what we do. We can't do anything different, but we can steer it a little bit with our conscious efforts. We're like a vehicle or a car that you can drive a little bit and you can move it left, you can move it right. But sometimes we force or discipline ourselves to do things that our vehicle wasn't really designed to do. Or if you try to drive it places or in ways that it really wasn't designed to drive. And we can do it for a while, but after a while we let go of all the constraints, the driving and stuff like that, and it comes right back doing what it normally does. And that's what really frustrates people, because we really get this sense of trying to force the machine we have to do things that it wasn't designed to do as training, and that's not training, right? To force it to do things that's not training. That's just driving. And what we want to do here is actually start to grow and develop the machine. Take out this part here, put this part in, do this a little differently here, and train ourselves to do it, and to develop ourselves in a way that it allows us to do and be the person that where our dreams and goals are just automatically happen. And that's possible. So that's what we're trying to do here. And we're trying to put it together in a way. It's just like when kids first start trying to become, kids grow and develop. They aren't, when they're a kid, they grow and develop to the next person, to the next level, et cetera, et cetera. And we see that. And we know that's happened to us. And then we sort of somehow, around high school, college, or someplace, we get sort of dumped out and we feel like, oh man, I can't do anymore. I tried everything. I tried this and I tried that, and I never could really get myself to do the things I needed to do to get what I wanted. And that's because we force, because that's how normal training is thought to occur. But natural training, that's what we're going to talk about here, and that's when we actually develop ourselves so we become the person. So what we want to accomplish is just a natural outcome of who we are. So training determines who we are. And we've gone through some of the steps and processes of the sort of 5-step process, and we'll cover that later, but you know that. But what I want to cover now just a little bit is I want you to start playing around with it, sort of like little girls play around with having babies and taking care of them and stuff like that. And then when they get older, this is level 2, right, of the training. And then when they get older, they all of a sudden, if they become pregnant, they know what to do. Okay, how to take care of a baby, and they don't know exactly, but they have a great head start and a lot of the right machinery going on. Okay, and then they get the little details of where to buy this or where to buy that, or how to go to the doctor, or whatever, those things as they go along as well. But they've got the right machinery already set up. Or like when Alan Carr, he basically when he teaches smokers how to become non-smokers, or trains them how to become non-smokers, he lets them smoke while he's training them. And there's what he does is he takes them into this place that says, okay, this is what non-smokers do. We're going to play around just like kids do when they're young, and we're going to play around with it and get a feel for it, and get the drive set up, get the action set up, get the thinking set up, so that when they finally decide they're going to become non-smokers, they come into this situation and they know what to do. They come into the next situation, they know what to do. They come into another situation, they know what to do, because they've already done it. They've already played around with it in their mind, and maybe even gone out into the real world and sort of looked around, see how it might happen, and even sort of dabbled a little bit in themselves. So that's what we want to do here. We want you to start getting the sense that you can actually get it going in all different situations where you can train yourself and start dabbling with it maybe a little bit. Okay, we've already hinted at a lot of them. Okay, one of the things is to start when you go and look in the mirror. We've talked about how instead of we've been trained how to look in the mirror, but now we want to train ourselves just a little differently to say, oh, what could I do with this? And we've trained ourselves to that, our previous training might have been, oh, you're supposed to be successful by now, or you should be going for this great big goal, or you should be doing this. And it's okay for go those great big goals, but what we want to be doing when we look in the mirror is, what can I do with this now? Is get something exciting that we can get involved and do right away. Action. We want to get into action, but we also want to do it in a way that it's rewarding. Okay, and we talked about looking at internal versus external reward. We want to start converting all of our things that our machine naturally does from external drives. We do it because of status, we do it because of money, we do it because of recognition, we do it because of whatever. We're going to start doing it because it's a value of ours, something we value, something that is important. We want to express it this way, we like it this way. We start to own these things, and we do it because it's us. And we talked a little bit about moms, how they really can naturally sort of get in and take things from level 1 up to level 5 training, because, so to speak, it's their baby. Well, see, your values and dreams are going to become your baby, and when you get this, you start to get in there, and now you're not going to be embarrassed by if something embarrasses. You're still going to do it if it needs to be done. If it's become stressful, you have trained it so that you can still do it under stress, because you've mastered it. It's so important to, so to speak, as moms are to their family, or to you now. And you're going to start learning how to play around with these ideas in your head, so you can start seeing how it could work for you. And as we start getting those ideas down, one of the things we got to start talking about is what we know. Okay, things that we know are true, things we know are the truth, things that we know we like, and claim to like, or whatever, or want to do or don't want to do. We got to sort of let go of that a little bit. Remember, the world is dynamic, and we at one time thought of ourselves as being fixed. We got here, we tried to change because we forced it, didn't work. But now we understand there's a natural way to train ourselves to become that person, and we can grow and develop, and we can now start to see ourselves as dynamic, and the world is dynamic as well. And we're going to start seeing, as we think differently about the world, we're going to start seeing different things in the world. So some of the things we got to start thinking about is what you like, what you want to do. That it's old. We're trained to respond. I like that. I don't like that. I want this. I don't want that. I'll never do that. Oh no, that not me. Oh, I'll do that. I can't stop myself from doing that. Yes, you can. You just have to train yourself. Remember, training. We're going to work on what that training is, but those things we've got to let go with a little, and we want to start seeing that we're dynamic and can grow and change. Things that we thought we never could do, we can start to do. We can start to do them first with, how is it done with the research? How does a person go from here to here to here to here? Oh, okay. And how might that look like? And start to see it in our head, then to see ourselves playing around with it in different situations. Could we do this and could we do that? And just, like I say, we're trying to get to that level where we have that sort of, that type of experience, so when we decide we're ready to grow in a certain area, we actually can take it and start to grow in that area. But we understand we have to do the research. We have to play around with in our mind in multiple situations, just the way kids do. We have to go out into the real world and start to see some of those situations and see that, yeah, we could do it, and start to sort of really start to see some of the details and some of the triggers. We haven't talked about triggers yet, but we're going to talk about that shortly. But some of the things that might trigger this, and then this would go there, and then that would go there. But we're going to want to start putting this together. But if you go in there, oh, I don't like to do that. Person goes, decides, okay, I want to start losing weight, and I'm going to go running. Okay, well, do you like to run? I don't like to run. I don't want to do that. So they go, I don't want to do this. I don't like that. Do we have to do it this way? And oh man, and it's like, okay, you do the strategy and the plan and stuff like that. And you got to get something. And if you've got to start seeing, well, maybe I could enjoy this a little bit. So one of the things I'm working on right now is that as a kid, you're all limber and you know can do things really well. But when you get older, one of the things you find out is that you've used your body wrong for a long time, and you gotta get it to work again. It starts to break down because you've been using it wrong. So one of the things that you need to start doing when you get older is you start to stretch, have to stretch and stretch. Oh man, how am I going to get to like stretching? And how am I going to get it so I do it routinely? As you get older, one of the things it becomes very obvious to you is that, is what do they say? Sitting is the new smoking or something like that. I mean, when you get older, you got to move. If you don't move, you basically are going to go downhill. Your aches are going to get worse and worse and worse. And so, one of the things you have to start doing is oh, you got exciting to get. Well, what am I going to do to get up and do what, and how am I going to make it exciting and things like that. So you got to first do the research, start seeing how you could do it in your mind, when you could do it, how you can do it, and how you're going to make it enjoyable so that it's internally driven, so you get the satisfaction from it, and things of that nature. What is it going to mean to you as a value? You're going to live a healthier life, and while you're doing that exercise, feeling, oh, this works, oh, that is neat, I figured this out, and satisfaction of figuring things out, and taking on a challenge to accomplish different things. I mean, all these different things you've got to do for yourselves now, which before maybe you were waiting for somebody else to figure that, do the strategizing and planning for you. But hopefully you're starting to see that you can now start to get in there and get control. And it's like, man, that's why they invented teachers, because this is hard. No, it's not hard. See, the hardest part is that teachers try to force you to do things you don't want to do, and it's like, man alive, getting kids excited over things they didn't come in and say, hey, I'm excited to learn this. Could you teach it to me? No, we come and say, I'm going to teach this to you, and I'm going to get you excited for it too. And it's so hard. And teach you, oh man, this is so hard to teach this, but it's not that hard. If you come in, you go, I'm the teacher, I'm going to get myself excited, and I, going to make this all happen. see, we get this idea that growing and developing ourselves is hard. Let's first talk about work just real quick here, okay? What is work? Okay, if you see a bricklayer laying brick, he's he's lifting these heavy bricks, putting it over here, put level, and that's work, right? Okay, or maybe what you do is work, okay? But yet, if a person, say, plays basketball, they might use, probably 5 to 10 times as much energy as a bricklayer, and yet it's not work, right? Oh no, it's fun, it's exciting. Or you see people lifting weights, right? That'd be, I guess, comparable to bricklaying, and they're like, yeah, this is great. I go to the gym, I love it. I'm looking at these muscles, and my whatever likes them, and I can do this, and things of that. Anyway, the whole point is the definitions and things that are defined as work and things that are defined as fun, we need to sort of maybe let them go a little bit and decide what we want to do that's going to help us get to where we want to go, and and develop interests where if we need to generate some interest or stuff. I mean, moms do that. They go, okay, what do I get to do? Oh man, okay, how do you do it? They get all interested in figuring out stuff because this is important for their family, and they get into it. But us, we sometimes, oh man, do I have to do that? It's like we got to understand that as we start getting in control here, we can take ourselves places where we want to go. We're not going to wait for a piece of paper or luck or someone else to come along and say, oh, wow, you're really good. You do that good. No, we're going to develop ourselves or market ourselves, take ourselves, and do whatever we need to do to get ourselves where we want to go, because we can do that. And if we need to be the person to find our advertiser or person to take us, we're going to do that. But we can start to develop ourselves. Okay, so anyway, this today was basically say, okay, you want to start thinking about, you may not be training yourself yet, okay, but start putting together, okay, what would this look like? And start, looking at it and putting it sort of in this bag of things like, the little girls do when they're pretend they have babies, or what the smokers were doing when they weren't non-smokers yet, but they were saying, what would it be like to be a non-smoker? Started imagining it in their mind, start playing around with it as they went through their day and said, wow, if I was a smoker, they could see that they could do things here and do things there. And now, what would you do if you could start training yourselves here and training yourselves there? What could possibly happen? And it's going to look, it's going to be natural. Okay, I don't want you to get a sense that I mean, we expect, when I learned to snow ski, they expected me to be a beginner. They didn't expect me to be on top of the thing, but yet I could go for it, fall down, get up. They expected me to fall down. They expected this, but I don't. Social. Oh, I don't want to fall. No, you're gonna fall down. It's fine. Go for it. See, it's you want to start seeing that you can do that and letting that be natural in your life. Where, moms do not sit there. Oh, status wise, I can't mess up here. No, they're whatever's for their family. You've got to start getting a sense of the people actually are impressed with people that go for it, and they know they're going to make mistakes. And yes, people are judgmental, people are critical and stuff like that, and you're going to have to deal with that, but you're going to find ways to deal with it. And it's like, it's getting your priorities straight, getting organized and stuff like that. But today, start getting a sense of, you don't have to force yourself. It's going to be natural. We're going to look in the mirror and see, what can I do with this? Wow, there are some things here I could really do. And we're going to think, like how moms do things, and like, wow, you can really accomplish a lot, and really things that are real important, because they're your values. You own them. They're your baby. That you're going to learn how to strategize and plan if you've never done it before, because it's going to be, you know how to figure things out and do stuff. You've seen it, you watch people, and now you can do it for yourself and get even better and better at it for different things. So start seeing things happen for yourself. Start taking on those little projects and going for them, getting excited and enjoying those little projects. When a baby's born, they're just a baby. It isn't like, oh, here's my lawyer or doctor's son or daughter. It's like, every step of the way, it's an adventure. And that's the same thing with the things as you grow and develop yourself. Every step's going to be an adventure. It's going to be a great part of your life. And you can shoot for the stars, sure, but just remember to start, as you shoot for the stars, remember there's a process to getting there. You got to train it. How are you going to do it? Strategize, go for it, and figure it out. But start thinking about how you might do that, and put it together in a package. All right. Anyway, we want you to start trying to see some of these ideas and how they might work for you, and you're going to see other ways too that we don't even talk about, that you're going to think, wow, this would work too, because I can learn to train myself, and this would help here. So anyway, start putting it together in your mind. That's how it starts. It starts in your mind. Then you start to see it out in the real world. Then you start to play with a little more details. You start to do a little test firing of it. You perfect it. You get it into production, and then you can do it even under stress when you're tired or anytime. That's just who you are. That's what you do. Okay, Vibe Coding University, training humans to train themselves.